Hi guys, welcome to ScreenTalk, where we talk about TV shows, movies, and video games. This week's episode focuses on Arrow Season 1. Now, this was the pinnacle of TV when this came out. Arrow Season 1 was fantastic. I mean, there was a bad episode here and there, but I mean, there was like 22 episodes, and I'd say like 19, 20 of them are really, really good. The ones I didn't like were like The Count and stuff like that, but that's understandable because you always have to have this episode that falls behind to get the story going. But what I want to talk about today is how the vigilante came around. So we set off with it being on Lian-Yu, and that is Mandarin for purgatory, and we find out that Oliver Queen was stranded there after a shipwreck, basically. And what happens is he survived for 5 years on this island. That's what we know for now. And he then comes back 5 years later to Starling City, covered in scars. 20% of his body is scar tissue, as the doctors say. And he's not the same person as when he left. He was a spoilt rich kid. He's now wiser and more hardened. We see that he literally doesn't sleep in his own bed. He sleeps on the floor with the window open and raining on him and crazy like that because he's just so used to sleeping outside. We find out that later his mum actually planned for the Queen's Gambit to go down, and with Malcolm Merlin, which is his best friend's father, his best friend, they decide to open a club. He sets up his base under the club. It's crazy to think how it all came about, and without this billionaire lifestyle, he wouldn't have been able to do it. He even says that. Then we get into the whole Thea-Tommy situation where Thea likes Tommy. She obviously likes him in a way. She goes to kiss him and he pushes her away. He's like in love with Laurel Lance, which is Oliver's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, but he cheated on her with her sister, and her sister died in the boat crash, and it's really complicated because I'm trying to explain it episode by episode, but we're finding out more about the boat crash, how it happened. Then we find out that an explosion was actually put on the boat, everything like this at the end of the season. And it's just a really good season because it showcases all the characters. Even Felicity, who isn't a major part in the season, gets a lot of screen time and character development. You understand that she's this quirky IT girl who actually has her own thoughts on how the world should be going and how people are and how they should be treated and everything like that. And she doesn't agree with the vigilante because he kills, and even if a bad guy is a bad guy, he deserves a second chance at being in jail and coming back instead of an arrow through the heart and stuff like this. It's kind of really good, and John Diggle as well. John's character really gets going. Like, we see him go from the person who's a bodyguard to talking to Oliver about, oh yeah, you're killing this person, but this must weigh on your soul and all this lot, and he's like a crusader. And then you get to Floyd Lawton, where he's like, yeah, we're just gonna kill him because he killed my brother and everything like that. So it's really good character development where you see the characters go through all the emotions and just literally pick each other up one by one. Now, Oliver obviously has killed a lot of people by this time, and he goes to visit his mum and he asks what the undertaking is and everything like this, and she just begs for her life and shows up her children, and he kind of gets weak. At that point, he's like, damn, maybe she sings. And he gets shot, and we spend this whole episode where Oliver has been shot, and it's more about Felicity and John helping him out and getting more answers and more flashback, really, of the thing to progress the story of the Lian-Yu chapter, where he's met Slade Wilson and Shadow and everything like that. It's really, really crazy to see how, like, Oliver became this vigilante because Slade Wilson trained him, and I love the fact that he was trained by Slade Wilson and no one else, because it's a nice little twist on it where, yes, Slade Wilson is Deathstroke in season 2 and everything and all that lot, and at this they have to do a lot of things to take down Fires, who is the captain of the army that they're on, Lian-Yu or something like that. And basically, there's this guy called Yao Fei who saves Oliver, but then turns on him and points him in the location of Slade Wilson. The storyline of Lian-Yu is very complicated to follow sometimes because there are always twists and turns in it. But they end up taking down fires and destroying this missile launcher where they're trying to take down a plane from Hong Kong or something like that. It's just really weird, but it's really good to see because we see why Oliver is this, yeah, they don't get a second chance, I'm just going to kill him kind of person because of the things he went through on that island and how he's progressing through life now because of them choices and how them choices will eventually come back and bite him in the ass and stuff like that. And the main villain of season 1 is basically Malcolm Merlin, the Black Archer, who we then learn is from Nanda Parbat and the League of Assassins under Ra's al Ghul. But we then find out that Merlin lost his wife in the Glades and that she left him a voice note that literally says, I don't want to die alone. I'm scared, I've been shot, I'm really hurt. And we literally hear her dying over the phone, and this is why Malcolm left and went to Nanda Parbat. He ended up finding himself in Nanda Parbat and got trained by the League of Assassins and came home. And Tommy Merlin then finds out that his dad's actually really crazy, and Tommy's whole thing with knowing Oliver's the vigilante so far on, and he kind of says, like, I did see you kill them guys when we first got back. I know for a fact I did now, because I now know you're the vigilante and everything like that. And he kind of takes his frustration out on Oliver not telling him on everyone else, like dumping Laurel and everything like that. And Oliver and Laurel getting together was basically his fault because he dumped her, because he was like, oh, you and Oliver belong together. And it kind of shows his character development because he's this spoilt rich kid, gets all his money taken off him. He comes down to earth and has these jealous feelings because of that. And then he becomes a spoiled bitch again. And it's really good to see how, even at that point, he would risk his life. Being this spoiled rich kid and all, he risked his life for Laurel and ended up dying in the undertaking because he saved Laurel. And we get that nice final moment between Oliver and Tommy where Oliver's like, no, just open your eyes, tears coming down his face and everything like that. And it's just really crucial to see that even though Oliver's been through all this loss, he still knew Tommy was his best friend. Even though Tommy kind of hated him, he still loved Tommy in that way. And it was just really cool to see. Another thing about Arrow Season 1 is the building of the Arrow Cave kind of thing. Like, it's just nothing. It's literally just monitors and screens at this point. And it's really cool to see how through the seasons it will upgrade and become cooler. We get introduced to a lot of people in season 1, like Felicity, John Diggle, Lila. I think Amanda Waller is in there for like an episode or two. It's really hard to remember because I've just been watching season 2. I've just finished that as well. So I might even be getting them confused. But it's really cool to see how Oliver just literally is going for this list and everything like that and taking down this list, and we find out that this list is actually Tempest, a group who is doing the undertaking. Tempest is Tempest's logo is actually an underground map of the subway systems in Starling City. And that is where Malcolm Merlin plants the device. So all season it's been leading up to, oh, the undertaking is happening, yada yada yada. Mario Queen's involved, Malcolm Merlin's involved, most of the 1% are involved, and they're going to level the Glades, get rid of all the poor gangbangers, as they call them, and all that lot, and finally get rid of the Glades. And it's really cool to see how they went about that. So they hired Unidac Solutions to create this earthquake machine, and they created 2 of them. But the idea was there's only one of them, and the big thing was, yes, there's another one, and the Glades does get leveled. and stuff like that. So we find out whilst Oliver and Malcolm Merlin are fighting, Malcolm Merlin blurts out, "Oh, I learned something about being businessman." Redundancy, and Oliver clicks. There's a second device, and it goes off and absolute levels the Glades. And we see Roy Harper going through helping people, everything like that. He's got a good storyline in this. He's just I'm a thief, I'm a purse snatcher, then I'm a murderer, then I'm a drug dealer, then I'm this. I'm just doing everything I can for money. And Thea tries to help him, but he doesn't want to help. I'm probably doing a really bad explanation of this because it's really hard to summarize a season in one episode, if you get what I mean, really quickly. I know this is going to be a very, very short screen talk because I'm actually doing a lot of other things because the weather's nice in the UK right now, and we're doing everything. But that is it for my talk about Arrow Season 1, and I hope you enjoyed. If you do, listen to my other screen talks, episode 1 to 5, I think. There's Dragon Ball Super Superhero, Dragon Ball Super Broly, Last of Us, Flash Season 1, and much more coming, hopefully. I have a lot planned for this podcast. I even have another show planned, which I might get into later on another episode of this. But for now, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you do please like, subscribe, and tune in for more. Thank you and goodbye.